Welcome to Talk About Topeka. I'm Chris Schultz, and I am out at Forbes Field, where you see this giant plane behind me. We're going to be going up on that plane, and you're going to have an opportunity to do so as well with an event we're going to be telling you about. This episode is brought to you by the WIBW channels and The Break Room. Check out everything they have to offer, including Dale Easton's production of The Drunkard, happening all through this month. Check it out at breakroomdowntown.com and sit back, relax, and enjoy this ride, because we're about to go up, and away.
Now I see.
So normally at the top of our show, we try to find a really awesome shot that we can make the opening. But since we're out here at Forbes Field and there's all these airplanes, we're going to give you a second opening shot for the show, because it's just something fun to look at. And then as we look right outside this door here, we are going to step out and see the Douglas DC-3 that we are going to be flying on today, taking to the skies. It's going to be a breathtaking trip, I can tell. And say a little prayer for us, please.
I believe I'll go back home. I believe I'll go back home.
So we are in the Douglas DC-3 today. We're going to be taking this plane up across. Oh, they're starting. I better get on board.
I'm gonna ring up China, yeah, man. See, can I find my good gal over there? Riding, Kokomo, riding. I'm gonna ring up China. See, can I find my good gal over there? Says the good book tells me that I got a good gal in this world somewhere. All in the church bell is tolling, yeah, man, on one Sunday morning. Boy, that's old Kokomo. All in the church bell is tolling, on one Sunday morning. All in some old dirty deacon, come and rung that bell, stole my gal and gone. Hey, Kokomo, Lord, I woke up this morning with my paw grinding business in my hand.
My name's Dan Grider. I'm flying with Brooks Pettit, Topeka, Kansas. We're in spooky, a DC-3. You can see about 80 of these airplanes in August 2, 3, and 4 at Forbes Field right here in Topeka. It's Warbirds and Legends.org. Come on out in August and get a ride on a Warbird. We'll see you there.
So this is truly amazing. You can have your opportunity to fly with these guys, with the Warbirds and Legends, happening in the first week of August.
So, you think, is this the right line, or do we need to be a little further west to be? No, you need to be a little bit further east, right about here like this. And remember, you got an airplane off your left wing also. That's so true. You're the lead airplane. You got to come just. So they're going to be in a delta formation rather than in an echelon. You're in a Vic. Okay, the Vic, yeah.
This is a Douglas DC-3, and you can find out all about it at warbirdsandlegends.org and get your chance to ride in one of these awesome historic airliners. It's really amazing. We're having the time of our lives up here.
Boy, this is a heavy airplane. Yeah, it is. Heavy and slow. Man, it's heavy. Remember that formation, going up to Oshkosh? Right. We had to pull 34 inches of power to keep up with you guys. Jeez. Yeah, my airplane's a whole lot more maneuverable. That thing's a kite, man. It's just... Yeah. It's got an empty weight of 17,000 pounds.
184 Forbes ground.
Your airplane has an empty weight of 17,000 pounds?
Yeah.
How? How is it that heavy? That heavy? That's light. Empty weight.
Take the vehicle Forbes ground.
Empty weight of 17,000 pounds. Yeah, you're 19 on this.
Edward 2805 Juliet, runway 13, clear to land.
Clear to land 132805 Juliet.
Dan and Brooks, thank you so much for doing this. It's a ride of a lifetime.
You bet, you bet. All right, Brooks, tell me what you want.
Gear down. And full landing check. It's slow in this airplane. It's only on one pump.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
The other?
We had a left pump or right pump selector.
Oh, I got you. Got you.
Flaps quarter.
Where's your flap indicator here?
20121, currently on Alpha, requesting present position.
All right, you got quarter flaps.
West.
Landing gear.
Runway 20121.
Landing gear down latch channel loops where you got a green.
I got green light, pause block.
After 201.
I got a wheel.
To the west, we'll call.
Flaps off.
I got a wheel.
I got a wheel too.
Got half flaps. Remember, Brooks, however you land on this one is how I'm going to remember you. So, make it good. And remember also, I've got some loose fillings, so if you knock any of them out, you're paying for my dental appointment.
Probably 22 Heavy 4, ground if you loud and clear, homie.
Awesome. I guess it could be windy out here in Kansas.
Yes, it can.
Think it'll be windy in the summertime?
Yep.
Really?
Can be just like this.
Really? They got a camera in, so go right up to him. There you go. All right, wave out the window to him.
Treats me right and loves me all the time. Sometimes I'm broke and blue as I can be. Sometimes I'm broke and blue as I can be. Sometimes I'm broke and blue as I can be. But still my baby, she looks after me. She walked in the rain till her feet got soaking wet.
If you're not a veteran and you still want to ride on one of these airplanes, we'll have more than a half a dozen airplanes, including a B-17 and B-25s, a lot of rare World War II bombers that will be available for rides if you want to do it.
Mrs. Kane, darling, give me one loud time.
So you've probably just been watching some video of the Douglas DC-3 and our exciting flight across Topeka, and I'm here with the guys who are at the wheel, or the whatever you call it. It's pilot Brooks Pettit and Dan Grider. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Good to see you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Chris.
Absolutely. We had the time of our life on that thing, and I want to kind of find out a little bit about its history. Can you tell us about where that plane came from?
Well, so the airplane was built, it's a Douglas AC-47, or a Douglas DC-3 that's was built both in the commercial airline service and for the military as the C-47 transport airplane, later used as the AC-47 gunship in Vietnam. Our airplane is restored as the John Levittow airplane. John Levittow was the first enlisted soldier to receive the Congressional Medal of Honor, which is quite an accomplishment. He basically, in the short version of this story, is he was on board the airplane flying over Vietnam when they were shot by a mortar round, and one of the crew members had partially ignited a magnesium flare, a 30 million candle power magnesium flare. Wow. And when they got hit, that flare came out of his hands and it was rolling around in the bottom of the airplane. And you imagine 30 million candle power has a lot of heat.
Yeah.
So John saved the airplane by, he was wounded, he was badly wounded, and kind of collapsed on top of that flare and rolled it out the door. Right as it went out the door, it ignited and into a big ball of magnesium fire. And had he not gotten that done, the whole airplane would have been destroyed, and all of the crew members. Yes. Wow. So he was awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, which there have been previous people that have been awarded that honor, but he was the first enlisted crew member. Wow. This airplane is a small example of the whole fleet of Douglas DC-3s. Dan owns an airplane that was used in the airlines for several years and flew cargo and all kinds of different missions. But a little over 13,000 of these airplanes are built, and about 150 flying in the country. Maybe a total of about 700 left flying in the world.
Wow, it's got an incredible story, and I can't tell you how it felt for me to be able to walk onto that thing and really feel like I've stepped back into the past. It was really amazing. And how long have you guys been flying?
I started in 1978, probably when the year Brooks was born or so.
Yep. I hadn't even been born yet.
I was born that year, so.
I've been flying for about 14 years now. So.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So, what do you guys do? Like, how does this work with this plane? Do you take it around to other places, or how does it work?
Well, so the airplane is owned by the American Flight Museum, which is a non-for-profit 501c3 air museum here in Topeka, and based at Forbes Field. And our mission is to educate the public about the history of military aviation and actually just in aviation in general and historic airplanes. Mm-hmm. So we fly the airplane to about 20 air shows a year, aviation events, museum openings, and all kinds of different public events, and then allow people to go tour the airplane. Sometimes people have the opportunity to go for rides on the airplane.
And what's it like for, if you're a pilot and you're used to flying a specific kind of plane, to be able to go and fly that kind of a plane? What's the difference there?
Well, it's old. Mine was built in 1938, and Brooks is a little bit newer than that. But it's like putting your hands around a flying piece of history. It's a history book that it's 70 years old now. So the technology's old. Everything's big and clunky, and the dials are big and old original. So it's like finding a unique antique at the antique shop. This thing is an antique, except it flies. And you can tell from your ride, even flying it, everything is very big and lumbersome and hard to do, and nothing happens fast in these old Warbirds. But Brooks and I share the same love and appreciation of the old antique airplanes. The engines have 1,200 horsepower a side, so they're very powerful, old technology engines, and it takes kind of a different breed of pilot to be able to fly these and to operate them. And they're just not a jet engine. These are very, very rare airplanes, and we have to take very good care of them. And it's an honor, a privilege to get to operate these now in these days, because there's not many of them left.
And what does it take to operate a historic airplane like this? I mean, what kind of trials and tribulations go along with that?
Oh, Brooks and I can both, and Robert's here with us. Anybody that owns one of these things, the maintenance on these things is just unbelievable. You get hot, dirty, bloody, and oily maintaining these things. And I can't tell you how many days I've spent around the clock working on airplanes and changing a cylinder and changing this and changing, and you come home and you're greasy head to toe, and you do that for 7 days straight trying to fix something, all to go fly it for 2 more hours and go do the same thing again. It's unbelievable.
Sure. Well, folks are going to have an opportunity to take a ride in these planes and several other planes with the event that you guys have coming up the first weekend in August, which is the Warbirds and Legends event. And we're going to talk all about that when we come back from this break, so don't go away. We'll be back with Brooks Pettit and Dan Greider, two awesome pilots who just gave me the time of my life.
Have you ever seen video of car tires or wagon wheels where they appear to roll backwards or stand still? That's due to the stroboscopic effect. It shows how fast an object is rotating compared to the camera shutter speed. If the object looks stationary, that means it's spinning at a multiple of the camera speed. Chris took this video on his iPhone, recording at 30 frames per second. The fan blades appear to move slightly backwards, so they are moving just slower than a multiple of 30. The more you know.
So welcome back to Talk About Topeka. I'm here with Brooks Pettit, Dan Greider. They are some pilots that are putting together something really cool here in Topeka. It's happening at Forbes Field the first weekend in August. It's Warbirds and Legends. Check it out at warbirdsanlegends.org. It's a great website there. You can find out all about it. But we want to find out a little bit about what you guys are going to be doing here in Topeka. Tell us a little bit about that, Brooks.
Well, so the event is going to be held at Forbes Field. We're going to have about 75 very one-of-a-kind, rare airplanes that you don't see you certainly don't see coming to Topeka. Most of these airplanes probably have never been to Topeka or anywhere close. We've got airplanes coming from every corner of the country, and along with some really fascinating people to come along with them. Components to this event are two things. It's the airplanes and the history behind the airplanes, but it's also the people, and bringing some really interesting people that have some neat stories to tell.
Sure.
And I'm going to let Dan talk a little bit about the people and the stories, because I think that Dan paints that picture really well.
And what you're doing is you've got people can take rides on these planes, but you're doing something very special for vets as well for this. And tell us a little bit about the people and what you guys expect with this.
Well, the event was named Warbirds and Legends, and you know, the Warbirds speaks specifically to the aircraft equipment itself and those airplanes, but the Legends are what we call the leftovers from the greatest generation. Those individuals who are now easily 80, 85, 90, and 95 years old, and they're becoming less and less every day. So those people from that time period that really went out there in the Pacific, the Atlantic, North Africa, and Europe, and fought all of these battles on all these fronts for America all at the same time, they're the kind of people that we were hoping to attract to come to this, and so we've offered free Warbird rides to any of those vets. And we've already signed up a tremendous amount of those who are going to travel to Topeka. Awesome. It's kind of a reunion. Some of those people, you know, I just got an email yesterday from a B-17. It was actually the nephew of a B-17 captain who got shot down in Europe and lost his B-17 and his crew, but he survived. Wow. And he moved to San Diego and resumed his life and never spoke about the war or flew again, but he'll be here in Topeka.
Wow.
So it's those kind of things that are very, very rare. The airplanes are rare. The individuals who bailed out and spent 15 months in a German POW camp, they're also rare.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's wonderful that you guys are doing something for them and also sharing a little bit of that history with just common everyday folks that would never have an opportunity to come this close to actually touch something that's a piece of history like this. So again, you're going to check that out at warbirdsanlegends.org, and you can find out about all the different planes that are going to be there. Tell us about some of the other planes other than the DC-3.
Well, we have, this thing has gone really crazy on unusual. You won't find what we have now for Topeka. You won't find it anywhere else in the world, and I'll give you just a short list of that. We are recreating D-Day, and you know, on D-Day they dropped 16 people out of DC-3s under parachute at Normandy and all these different places. So at Topeka at 1 p.m. on both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're going to recreate D-Day. We have 3 airplanes that are going to carry World War II reenactors. Wow. They'll fly across the top of Forbes Field, south to north, and they're going to drop paratroopers all at the same time. So you're going to see almost 50 parachutes in the air at the same time. And that is what it would have looked like if you had been on the beaches of Normandy on that day. It hasn't been seen since World War II. There's no place in America where this has ever been replicated, ever. So this is a first since World War II.
So will the jump be at 1,500 feet?
Technically, it's supposed to be. We're going to do it at 1,000.
Okay.
Because they all say the same thing. They don't want to be at 1,500. It's too much time to drift.
Yeah.
At 1,000 feet, pretty much where they get out is where they're going to land. So you incur a lot of danger by going. You drop at 5,000, they could land in Kansas City. You know.
Yeah.
There's been several single ship drops where they've dropped people out of one ship, but this is our first attempt at a 3-ship formation mass drop, and that's going to happen. We have 3 Harpoons, which are Navy Pacific prowlers, and there's only 3 of those left in the world. All 3 will be here, and all 3 will fly together. Wow. We have a Marine F-7F. There's only 7 of those left in the world that are flyable, and we have 1 of those. We have 21 DC-3s, 12 Beech-18s, C-45s, the list of Grummins that we have, and we also have a single copy of almost every single World War II trainer that was ever made. And as you know, pilots had to go through, in order to fly bigger and better airplanes, they all had to start on a smaller airplane. So there was a whole host of little bitty airplanes that pilots always started, and we've got a single copy of almost every one of those trainers from World War II that's going to be on the field that you can actually see and walk up and talk to the pilot of. So an incredibly diverse listing of what we've got here.
And not to interrupt here, but just for the people that are watching this, you know, I'm not a doctor and I don't understand medical speak. So if you'd like to understand what a C-45 is or a F-7F, go to the website. The website will have pictures of all these airplanes and a little history about each airplane that's going to be there. So.
And it's important for people to know this isn't your typical air show where you're going to see, you know, the Blue Angels flying in formation or anything. This is a historical event almost, where you're really going to see a little bit of history up close and personal. Tell us a little bit about the difference there.
Well, an air show, and all of us are air show people. We've all grown up going to and participating in air shows. An air show is a totally different footprint. This is a warbird, or this is for people who like antiques and appreciate history. If you want to see a flashy, brand new red car, you can go to the dealership and see that.
Sure.
If you want to see a '64 Chevelle, this is your kind of event. This is unique, original, antique material. It all still flies. A lot of it is original to how it was in 43, 44, and 45. So the whole element there is what we call rare. This is rare material. Air shows can be replicated around the world. At any point, we can put together an air show. This is a gathering, and this is rare. This is the rarest of the material, and it's all coming to Topeka.
That's right. As we celebrate Topeka with such a rich past with aviation history here, I mean, it's really tied into who we are in the city. But thank you for bringing all of these folks from all over the country to Topeka to showcase this. I think that's a wonderful...
Can I spend 2 minutes here and talk about... I want to make sure that everybody also knows that, you know, all of these airplanes will be flying throughout the day. It's not a meet where they're gonna, you know, where the airplanes are static the whole day. There'll be flying activities much like an air show all day long from 1 o'clock on in the afternoon, actually for all day. And people are going to have an opportunity to go for a ride on any of the airplanes that they would like to. There's ride opportunities in a lot of these airplanes.
So as far, you know, you're getting the actual experience.
Sure.
Much like we did. And I can't tell you or endorse it enough. Folks, plan to do the Warbirds and Legend event happening the first weekend in August at Forbes Field. Warbirdsandlegends.org. I'll say it again. I'll beat it in right here. Make sure you do it. Brooks, thank you so much for joining us.
You bet. Thanks, Chris.
Dan, thank you.
You bet. Thanks, Chris.
And good luck with everything you do. We will be out there and we'll be riding the planes in August. Thank you so much.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks again to Dan Greider and Brooks Pettit, two pilots who could make Tom Cruise eat his own heart out. This episode was sponsored by the WIBW channels and the Break Room's production of Dale Easton's The Drunkard. I'm Chris Schultz. Be sure to tune in next week. Check out our website. You can like us on Facebook. And, of course, keep talking about Topeka. Take a look at Gillette's new 5-bladed razor.